Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Body, Soul, and Spirit podcast. I'm so excited to talk to you today and continue the topic of the emotions that we feel and steps that we need to take to be able to navigate and walk through in a healthy way these emotions that sometimes arise, especially during the holiday season. And it's normal. I was talking to one person in particular that I was in a counseling session with, and I was letting them know that during this time, there is such an amplified emotional state during the holiday season. And researchers have even found that during the holidays, our emotions are very magnified. And the reason being is because there's a lot of memories that are evoked during this time. We remember the past, and it's normal to feel certain things because perhaps there's strife or there's discord or there's memories of the past, or there's division or strife of maybe current situations that maybe you're going through. So the emotions are very heightened. Our emotions often are very rooted in the past and past experiences and previous experiences. And so oftentimes when we are in the present, we encounter situations that might be similar, and they lead us to triggers. And oftentimes we can be stuck in memories. It's possible that during the holiday season, especially if you have felt very triggered and your emotions are very heightened, there's probably past wounds still. Now, keep in mind, we have stored memory. And also, another reason why we feel our emotions very heightened is because it's a very stressful time. It's a very stressful time because the expectations that we have or that people have of us are quite high. Example, there's a lot of invitations. You got to get gifts, you have stress, and all these emotions are amplified during that time because it's a time of expectations. You've got to invite people, you're having a party, or the lack of invitation, or what am I going to do during this holiday? I don't have family, or I've lost a loved one. How am I going to get through the holidays? And so it leaves people very depleted, and a sense of helplessness can come because you might feel inferior, or you might feel defeated, or you might feel like you've got to please everybody, or you might feel lonely. And so all of these things are surfacing up during the holidays. Holidays have a tendency to activate certain emotions that otherwise probably wouldn't be there. The holiday season can actually be a time where grief is heightened. Loss and that feeling of loss, right, can be heightened. And it's a time where we feel tension, and you really want to enjoy the holiday season, but also you're very much aware that the grief is heightened, the loss is heightened, and so it's normal to feel these things. So I wanted to just jump on here and talk about, how do I navigate this? How am I going to navigate these emotions during this time when things are coming to an end? The year is ending. A lot of memories are coming to surface. So the first thing we need to understand is that we need to allow those emotions to surface, and you need to welcome them. You can't ignore them. You can't put them off to the side or pretend like they're not there, or try to make yourself so busy that you can't feel. Sometimes we don't want to feel the sadness. Sometimes we don't want to focus on it. Sometimes we just maybe want to just leave town and ignore it. That's the worst thing you can do. Anything that is heightened during this time and you just maybe tend to ignore it, it's not going to go away. It's only going to get bigger. It's only going to surface up eventually. So please, number one, and understand one thing, that you can actually feel joy, but you can also feel sadness at the same time. And we talked about two ways to navigate through those emotions. And the first one was focus on it. If you haven't heard that podcast, I recommend that you go to the previous podcast so you understand what do you mean by focus on it. Because when you focus on it, and I gave the example of that microscope, right? That when you focus on it, you can actually see it better, and you actually separate yourself from it. And the second thing that I said to you is it's important for you to befriend it. And I don't mean to say that it's going to be something that maybe stays with you. What I mean by befriending it, if it's an emotion that is heightened during the holidays, like grief or sadness or anger or something's triggering you, befriending it allows you to not shame you. Befriending it allows you to see it for what it really is. And then now you can go on the journey of really identifying where it came from. Why is it there? The third step, and this is a new one that I want to give you today, a third way to be able to move during the holidays and in the future for that matter, and get healthy when it comes to your emotions and mature in your emotions, is invite God into that experience. Inviting God to that emotion is key to be able to navigate through the emotions that you're feeling, the triggers that you're feeling, any PTSD that you're having. It's important to invite God. This is one of the most powerful steps that I can give you, because it is the journey to healing and it is the journey to transformation. I believe that the real transformation occurs when you are inviting God to be with you in that experience. You become not only present when you focus on it and befriend it, but now you're inviting the one that loves you. You're inviting the one that created you. You are inviting the one that actually cares how you feel. And you may say, well, how do I invite him into this experience? The way you invite him is once you've focused on that emotion, once you've befriended that emotion, now you invite him. How do I invite him? Well, tell him how you feel. Example, I feel so sad right now, God. Or I'm worried, God. Or I'm so angry, God. Or I'm so upset, God. And as you name it, and as you say God, you are actually inviting him into that experience. You're saying, you could say something like, I feel so alone, God. Or help me, God. When you're in the emotion, right, and you actually invite him in it, you are bringing it in front of you. And now you are inviting God into that experience. This is actually a type of prayer. It's our meditation during the day. Whether you're driving in the car, whether you are eating alone, whether you're in the house doing gardening or cleaning, or whatever it is that you're doing. If you're a mom tending to your child, if you're nursing them, feeding them, if you are going from one place to another, if you're putting the groceries away, it's a type of meditation. You're saying, I'm angry, I'm sad, and you're inviting him in. And it's actually a type of prayer. And this is so powerful because you're actually partnering with a God that cares for you. There's a author by the name of Lawrence, and he actually wrote a book that's called Practicing the Presence of God. And that's what you're doing. You're actually practicing the presence of God throughout the day. So you focus on it, you befriend it. In other words, you're consciously aware. You're getting out of your left brain. When I focus and when I befriend the emotion that I'm feeling, the trigger that I'm feeling, you're actually getting it out of a particular area in your brain. You're getting it out of your left brain, out of the amygdala, which is the part of your temporal lobe. The amygdala is part of this brain that is a key component to the emotional control and the way you emotionally process things. And it plays a huge role in your memory, and it plays a huge role in your learning. So when I focus and when I'm befriending that emotion, I'm actually taking it out of this part of my brain. So I'm actually making myself consciously aware. I am detaching it from that part of my brain that controls the emotions and processes the emotions and is a key role in memory and in learning. One, I befriend and focus. I'm actually doing that. But I'm also adding God to the equation. So I'm not alone. I'm actually partnering with God. I'm inviting him to this transformation. I understand that prayer is not limited to just going into a room and being with him, although that is very key and very important. And those of you that follow our ministry understand that that is the greatest foundational component. That's where I'm anchored, is going into that place. That's my lifestyle. But also throughout the day, you are inviting, it's a part of meditation, which is a type of prayer. You're meditating. You're saying, God, I want to bring you into this equation. And you're actually bringing every part of you, every part of who you are into this equation of your life. And Jesus did this. This is how Jesus lived. He invited his Father in heaven into every part of who he was and how he felt. So when you do this, you are actually in step with God's presence, with God's spirit. So you're no longer condemning yourself. You're understanding that he cares. This is going to lead you to no longer criticize yourself. It's going to lead you to a healthy you. It's going to lead you to maturing your emotions because you're no longer condemning yourself. You're no longer shaming yourself, but you're inviting God into that part of you. And then you know that he cares for you. And when you look at nature, you realize something. Now you can meditate. Let's say you're going for a walk. Let's say you are exercising. Let's say you are watering your plants or your trees. You can actually invite him to every experience. And then once you do, then you can meditate on God's nature. Like think, for example, a tree. Right now we see the trees and leaves are falling off, right? Nothing's really blooming, but it's just a season. And when you invite God into that season of your life, you realize not only does he care, not only does it matter to him, but then when you look at nature, because he had a way, Jesus had a way of bringing agriculture to a lot of his stories, because nature is the way he would speak to us so that we understand and comprehend that everything is in its season, that it's going to pass away. And that kind of brings hope to you, that it's just a season, that although the trees look like they're dead, something's happening in the sap of that tree. It's being prepared for the next season. You know, as you're watering your plants, you realize, hey, I'm checking the soil of this plant. I'm tending to it. When you look at the sunset, well, you know that the next day the sun's going to rise again. And that's so key, because now you understand that God is in it with you, that it's just a season, that it's not going to last, that you're not going to be sad for the rest of your life, that you're not going to be angry for the rest of your life. When you invite God, that is transformational, because then you understand that he's the one that can help you. He's the one that's going to heal you, that you are not alone in this process. You are not alone going through this, but that he's going to help you, and he's going to help you navigate that emotion or whatever is going on at the heart of that emotion. Let's dive into it deeper in our next podcast. It's so key and so important for us to be so healthy emotionally, mentally, and really using the holidays to understand what's really going on inside of us. I hope this helped you guys, and we will see you guys next time.